If current estimates hold, the population will reach 9 billion by 2038. One of the major problems we face is feeding everyone. Diseases are at an all-time high. The current model for food production is unhealthy and unsustainable. There's got to be a better way.
Scientists say that if 14% of the world planted a permaculture garden or some type of garden just in their backyard, we can replenish the entire earth.
So we're setting out to find people who are doing things differently. We'll be looking into alternatives to current food practices that are damaging our health and environment. We'll be meeting the chefs, farmers, restaurateurs, and entrepreneurs who are making a difference. And you'll find out just how easy it is for you to become a part of the solution. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram. Hit that like button, subscribe, tell all your friends. We'll be eating the freshest food, meeting amazing people, and seeing what we can do to become a healthier, more environmentally friendly world, right here on The Fork and Truth.
So we've been here about 3 years on this site. We grow about 60 different medicinals, and we do maybe 6 at scale. So we have a lot of biodiversity, huge pollinator habitat, and food for all of our bumblebees, but then of course great medicine for apothecaries and herbalists that come by. What we found here after growing the first season is the potency of the herbs grown here versus where we grew them at other places was like almost 4 times as strong in smell, wow, in color. So when we were doing oil infusions, there, our old ratio of how much plant we would put in the oil to get the infusion we wanted, we used to do it at a 1:4, and with the herbs that we were able to grow here, we're looking at more like a 1:12 ratio. So we were using way less herb to get the same quality infusion because they were so much more potent and vibrant from this space. And so that's when Brooke and I and the ranch decided to expand the relationship and really offer these herbs at a larger scale. Behind us here is a plant called Hyssop Officinalis. This is burdock, lemon bee balm, monarda, elecampane. One of my favorites is the blue vervain, mugwort, echinacea, which probably most people are more familiar with this one as opposed to some of the others we've been going by. St. John's wort. This is motherwort, Leonoris cardiaca, lionheart. We've already harvested the whole row once. We'll harvest again, but we always leave a few to just fully go to seed and express their natural life cycle. Generally, there's some rows and blocks of plants, but they're very, very mingled, which is the way you see most of these plants in the wild. So we want to mimic as much as we can some of that wild pressure. We want our plants to struggle a little bit because they produce all these secondary metabolites due to stressors and due to learning how to survive, which is why we hear about wild plants being so much stronger than cultivated plants. So we want to kind of bridge that gap where we are cultivating plants, but we're not overwatering, we're not over fertilizing, we're not over weeding, so that way we get more of a wild simulated expression of chemicals within the plants. And I just like it that way. This is oats, like oatmeal, but that milk that comes out is a great nervous system rebuilder, and helps to rebuild the myelin sheath in the brain. Then we move into some comfrey and spearmint beds. Spearmint being a great digestive, but also something that is commonly added to blends for flavor. And then comfrey, kind of permaculture's darling plant. You see this in many, many permaculture gardens for the fertilization of their gardens. So it helps to bring up minerals from deep below and create all of this biomass that creates this nutrient dense mulch and fertilizer. But what we're using it for is more externally for salves and balms it's a rapid cell regenerator. They used to call it knit bone because of its ability to help mend broken bones. And you'll see it in like any boo-boo salve or sore muscle salve, you're always gonna see comfrey. Although, like most of these plants, the best way to put them on is more just the old school method of a poultice. Just smash the leaf and slap it on your wound. You have to be careful with comfrey, though it works so well that if your open wound is infected, it can heal over the infection. So we really need to make sure it's a very powerful herb that's used really wonderfully in very specific ways. Our little Angelica forest, which is already going to seed here. Angelica is endangered because of over-harvesting. And so this is one we really want to make sure that if we're using, we're getting it from a cultivated source. This is our Tulsi Holy Basil, which is a very high demand medicinal right now. It's the only baby I grow. All the rest of the herbs are really, really hardy, cold hardy, mostly perennial. But Tulsi is the one I'm willing to start 2 months ahead of going out. It doesn't really take a great frost, although we are saving seed and breeding this with the biodynamic seed baths and a few things that we're doing to try to push its ability to withstand a cold environment like we have here. So we've been companion intercropping with annuals and perennials. So we've got, there's California poppy. This bed is into peppermint. It's first year in peppermint, little babies. And so for this year, the oats and calendula are on the side to give a little microclimate to the peppermint, help prevent weeds, fill the space, create mulch and biomass, create a crop, but then also next year, this bed will be all peppermint, but it doesn't need the whole bed yet. We have calendula, which people are really familiar with as our skin healing digestive herb. Hollyhock, which we use similar to marshmallow for the mucilagenic content. So it's going to be moistening to the body. I like to grow the same things in different sections to see how they'll do over time. So more blue vervain, echinacea, mugwort, as well as clary sage, which is a biennial. So next year it'll flower, this year it'll be just in the leaf state. Chocolate mint, which you probably smelled.
It smells so good. And did you go to school for this?
I went to school for restoration ecology, so how we can restore degraded landscapes, specifically using plants was my focus. But I used to river guide back east, and I started traveling through Latin America, river guiding and visiting permaculture farms and learning more about how we can actually heal places and live there and produce healing medicine and food for ourselves as well as the world, while also making that place better at the same time. And so I started studying all kinds of different land practices and permaculture farms. And then once I found the herbs, or the herbs found me, we're cultivating each other every day, all the time. It's been really great to see, yes, how the herbs affect us inside our body, but then also just being around their spirits and how that affects us and how we work with that and how changing it can be. Yeah.
True medicine.
True medicine.
Beautiful.
Yay.
Amazing. Inspirational. If you've enjoyed watching this bite-sized segment at Sustainable Settings with Stephanie from Biodynamic Botanicals, then keep an eye out for the full episode where she walks through and explains the health benefits of the herbs to the human body. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do so and hit that notification bell to keep up to date with everything we're doing. Thank you so much for joining us. See you next time.